So thank you all for coming. Very, very happy to have David Harding here. First of all, I want to acknowledge Tom Weston from Weston Mason Design, very, very influential in our lives. Amazing website designer, PR marketing firm, who not only helped build who Platinum is today, but has done a much better job on many other people because they don't have me. So great, great guy to get to know. If anybody needs a referral for a website, PR, amazing, amazing company. I want to introduce David Harding. Among many, many other things he does, he's a real estate broker, and he started a company called I Have 5 Questions, where they ask 5 questions and get very good market feedback back. I think more importantly than what he does is who he is. And I actually remember the first time we met, I think it was 10 years ago.
Or so.
We were in the place where all the competition is for brokers, PCBC, which is the show for brokers who work with developers. He was actually sitting on a credenza in a hotel. I was there with a friend. He said, "You should go talk to Dave." I think he was throwing me to the sharks, but I'll go talk to him. Who is he? He's like, "Well, he's your biggest competitor." I'm like, "Okay." And I walked over and we had like a 15-20 minute conversation. And he's been a very good friend ever since, and just an amazing advisor, mentor, sounding board, just a great, great guy. So with that introduction.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. With also thanks to the Irvine Company, who is our host venue at least today. We're gonna play a video.
So some interesting stuff. If we hadn't asked the questions, who would possibly know that? We were responsible with Volkswagen of America for research during the launch of the Passat. And the Passat, as some of you may know, September 13th of 2011, brand new version of that with the high miler options, very expensive options, 12-way heated seats and nav and all of that sort of stuff. They expected that they would be primarily appealing to people that drove 40 to 60 miles a day. At 10 miles a day, round trip, at 10 miles a day, people said, "No, I'm a road warrior and I will pay, in some cases, up to $7,000 for those options." Are you kidding me? Who would ever believe that? And who would also believe that people that shop at Ralph's are more brand loyal than people that shop at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's? I mean, exactly. That's why we do the research. And it's important that we understand that sort of thing, that it's not just the tried and true old nonsense of people passing on the same stuff that they've heard before forever. So today, this is going to be fairly quick. I'm under strict rules from Iran in respect of your time. You need to be out of here or count on being able to get out of here by 1 o'clock. So I've got a lot of material. Some of the material on the slides we may not spend very much time on. If you want to copy this later on, it's free. There's no cost to anything that we do today. Ask Ron, he'll send it to you. I'm not going to be embarrassed by any question. I'm quite happy to have you contend with some of the stuff that we say. I can tell you that some supermarkets, without mentioning them by name, but their initials might begin with a W, will contend with the fact that Ralph's customers are more brand loyal than Whole Foods Market. So, and it's okay. We have the research to talk about this if you're interested. So, feel free to participate at the end if you can hold your questions until then, if you don't mind. One of the things we talk about is why we do the research. And you know, I was doing a little bit of research because we had the lunch that we have. And by the way, those of you that are still having sushi, I'd like you to continue eating. I wouldn't want it to get cold on you. Yaron is one of the, he's got so many attributes. It's really interesting. And I can say this because he was a competitor for many years. He's found that really interesting sushi bar in the Marina District, close to Weston Mason's office, in fact. Well, you know, it's only available to lawyers. So while he's a broker and a general contractor, in his capacity as an attorney, he's able to go to this sushi bar in the Marina District. And the name of the sushi bar, of course, is Sosumi. He invited me there one time, and I thought it was good. I went back. I wasn't quite sure. I wanted to have sushi, but I went in, and you know, they've got the window, the display counter, and it's got all the fresh fish and seafood and the seaweed and whatnot. I walked in, and I looked at it, you know, and it looked fresh. There was no problem, but I realized I wasn't in the mood, kind of like Kyle. I wasn't in the mood for sushi, so I started to leave, and literally on my way out, one of those razor-sharp knives came and stuck just, I think it took some of my hair off, I'm not sure, it stuck in the door frame as I'm leaving. I turned around, the sushi chef is there, he's holding another one of these super sharp knives, and what? And he said, what? I said, why did you do that? And he said, well, no, sir, here's the problem. You're not entitled to leave after you have passed the point of no return. Man. You know, I have a research company. We researched for probably 9 days on sushi jokes. That's the best that there is, you guys. Among the things that, when we talk about doing the research, we sometimes find things that you wouldn't have believed had you not done the research. In 2009, when the market was dying or dead, there were still people buying homes rather than renting. And if you think about it, and we were able to demonstrate that, they believed that prices would go down. If you ask each other, or you ask most brokers that deal with people that might rent or might buy, you know, why are you thinking, why would you like to buy a home? The brokers will say, oh, well, because clearly it's the tax benefits and the opportunity for capital appreciation. But when you ask tenants, that's not what motivates them primarily, particularly when the market is dying. You know, tax benefits, you know, I'm not earning enough money to have a benefit, and the property values are probably going to go down. Actually, he's got an article that we've done based on some research and some other conclusions. There are 15 major reasons why people will convert from renting to owning, and the last two are those economic reasons. The first one, by the way, is if I want to paint my living room wall Chinese red, I can do it. I don't have to ask permission. And I can change my locks whenever I want, and I don't need anyone's permission to have the grandchildren or the grandparents move in for 3 months or for forever. And I don't have to ask permission to have a pet or another pet. These are the emotional motivators, and that's what we started to key in on in our sales training. We're realizing so many of the sales crews in many businesses, not just yours, are missing what's really going on in the consumer's life. There's a way to find out, and that's to ask them. So that's what we're going to talk about today. In terms of the real estate market, who's buying and why? It's interesting. What's going on with prices? What's going on with prices? Prices are going up. Sales volumes, they're going up. Good news? Not necessarily. Let's look behind the headlines. Let's figure something out. Sales are up. Prices are up. Everybody happy with that? Here's the problem. Home ownership is at the lowest rate in America since 1996. We peaked at about 67% people, owner-occupiers. Now we're at about 62, and it looks like it will plateau or maybe fall a little bit more. First-time buyers are down year over year. This is the third year in a row, so down year over year, 2 years. So how does that line up? Wait a minute. Sales are up, prices are up, but who in the world is buying? Because it's not owner-occupiers, and it's not the first-time buyers who are then allowing other people to move up in their station in life. Well, it's clearly investors and speculators, and you know, that's not right or wrong. It is a fact. And included in that are foreign nationals who may well buy a home and leave it vacant in America for several months or only use it perhaps for a few weeks a year. Everybody knows, I hope everybody knows, that Blackstone and other hedge funds are buying up by the thousands used houses and renting them out. And even one of the top 10 builders, Beazer Homes, is buying somebody else's leftovers. They're buying used houses, fixing them up, and renting them out. That says something about our business. It's not all good. There are some storm clouds, as we say. So, how do we turn that into a silver lining for people in this room and the builders that you represent? We need to figure out what's going on in the mind and the heart and the gut and the mouth and the brain and sometimes even the butt of the consumers. The pain in the butt for many consumers, if they're buying used houses, is that, well, you know, there could be this short sale and it could be months for waiting forever, and there could be multiple offers. I have no idea if I'm ever going to buy this home. I'm going to get jerked around, or my client is going to get jerked around with no certainty. It could be months while they're just cooling their heels and missing other opportunities. That's not something that new home builders and their brokers typically have to worry about. When we shake hands with someone, they pretty much got a deal. They have to get a loan. You get a loan, you got a home. You get a loan, I get a check. It's pretty much that simple. And we're missing that pain point with many of the consumers that could go to a used house or a new home. I'm a new home guy. I never say a resale home. I never even say a used home. It's a used house or a new home. So those are among the things that we find out are bothering our consumers. How can I be so categoric in saying, well, yeah, are those real consumers? You may have seen in the flyer for this presentation, I'm giving you data from 51,000 surveys that we have done regarding home shopping, and it's for every kind of product you could imagine. Big builder, small builder, regional builder, multinational builder. This is only in America, by the way. None of our Canadian or Chinese clients are included in this. It's attached, detached, age-restricted, age-focused. Those we represent a number of major builders where they have multiple generation designs into their homes. So anything that you could possibly imagine, we have the statistics from people that actually physically turn up at a new home sales office or gallery or trailer, whatever it is. These are activists. This isn't, I'm not going to mention one of my competitors by name, but when they do some research on what turns the crank of potential home buyers, the lady responsible for that survey checks with all of her friends on Facebook. Well, you know, that's nice, and she's able to get a lot, but those are hardly activists. Those are not people that voted with any sense of time or may not have a paycheck. They may not have a job. What we know is they have a Facebook account. It's quite different than turning up at your sales offices or being pre-qualified at your lender and then coming to your sales offices. It's every single product type available. We're going to talk about a few things today, but the number one question that we like to ask, we hope that our clients allow us to ask home buyers this because we think it's vital. If we were to ask that question alone and give you the information, it's $500,000. In our world, a good benchmark is each answered question is worth if we can get to this, is worth somewhere between $8 and $12. So at $10 a response and 51,000 responses, this may be useful to you. And by the way, there's no cost. You're not going to buy anything from me today, that's for sure. So I hope you get some return on someone else's surveys and our aggregation of that. This is really important. Here's the question that we very often ask. These are very carefully constructed. How come you're looking to buy a new home now? And we ask thousands of people this question. Not every assignment do we ask the question, but 50-odd thousand people have been asked this question. Sometimes we'll pick them a little bit. That's a technical term. You know, is it because you have a new job or whatever? And we get them thinking. And then we do the two most important things, I believe, in consumer research. Two things. We ask them a good question, carefully thought out, and then we shut up. And we let them answer. We don't give them 12 choices or rank on 1 to 5. It's not about us. It's about, let's figure out them, what's operating in their motivation. Number one motivator is the physical plant. 28% of the people are primarily here because of something that people in this room build. Something that you build and design. And look at the biggest group in that is I'm looking for something bigger. Be careful with the words that I'm giving to you because we're going to have it expressed in 2 more slides slightly differently. Why? Because your consumers, or your competitors' consumers, are telling us kind of the same story but with a different motivation. So, number 1 is I want more space. More than what? Well, you know, we represent builders that do 600 square foot stacked flats in Kent, Washington, and that do 7,200 square foot detached homes in the wine country of Texas. And the numbers are the same, you know, very consistent. I want more. If I'm in Vintage Oaks in New Braunfels, Texas, where by covenant rather, the homes have to be at least 6,000 square feet, and most of them are much larger. And most of them have helipads. And they turn up there, and Texas does have a wine country, and this is it. That's why it's called Vintage Oaks. They turn up there and say, well, I want more space. Yeah, I just hate that 5,800 square foot dump that I'm in now. So, interesting, I want more. And then, number 2 motivator is I just want new. But they're not saying I want new technology. They're not saying I want gray water management systems. They're not saying I want energy efficiency. Maybe they're thinking that. Don't you think that on their behalf is my suggestion to you. They're saying I just want new. And look at number 3. I want less. I want less space. That we find very interesting. Now, the number 2 silo, if you like, we group these. The number 2 silo is location. The reason that I left work early on Tuesday afternoon to go looking at new homes, or I got up early Saturday or Sunday morning, took the dogs to the groomer so that we'd have time to go and look for new homes, the reason I did that, the number 1 reason was, some tell us, location. Once again, better location. Better than what? Well, clearly better than where they are. Okay? And then, how powerful is this? And we're missing it. The number 2 motivator of those that say it's something about location is friends or family live nearby. Look at schools. We're not going to major in the minors. I'm not going to go through the list of all of these things. You can get the DVD from, or copies from here on later on. Schools, in the scheme of things, is insignificant. Now, what we're not saying, and what the consumers are not saying to us, is schools are insignificant. What they're saying is it's not the number 1 motivator. Remember, we asked them, how come you're looking at buying a new home now? And then we shut up. And they say, schools, insignificant amount of people say, I'm looking for a better school district. This is really important for you in terms of doing a needs assessment with your prospects when they're on site. Certainly all of your marketing materials. We're going to talk about some of the other opportunities that we have. Don't necessarily follow the majors because they're missing a number of things. How do we know that? They're consumers who are telling us this. Oh, by the way, I saw other people. When I said location, yeah, it's always location, 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 location. We've been doing these kinds of roll-ups for 2.5 years. Location has never been number 1. It's never been number 1. Look at where it is now. It's number 2. Look at how close it is to what's the number 3 motivator. We call this the 4 walls. It's not the physical plant. It's something about how I'm living is bugging me, frankly. This is another one of those pain in the butt situations. Why am I here? How come you're looking to buy a new home now? Well, I'm tired of renting. In this room, folks, do not make the assumption. When someone says I'm tired of renting, don't check off the box first-time buyer. That's no longer true. That's far from true. There are a number of people who used to rent, then own, and now want to own again. After they're currently renters. think about these folks. They've gone through that distinction. Okay, I was a renter, I was an owner, lost my home, or for whatever reason. Whether or not I think the market is going to improve, I want to be able to paint my wall and change my locks and have whoever I want here with no one else's permission. So it's not necessarily tired of renting as a first-time buyer, it's tired of renting. It's tired of renting. That's what they say. And look at these other motivations. Now, you see how this is different? I'm going to have more people in my home. That's not the same as I want more space. Because we very often find people say, well, we're going to have a baby, or the grandparents are moving in, the grandchildren are moving in. It doesn't necessarily mean I want more space. It's I need the space to be deployed differently. The reason I got up early on a Saturday or Sunday morning, took the dogs to groomers, was we need a place because we're going to have more people. So again, you guys can look at these later on if you like, in terms of what's majoring in the minors. Oh, now think about all the ads and all the stuff you've seen in editorial that people are buying today because of historically low interest rates and prices are great. Now, they're not as great as they were 6 months ago, but they're still pretty good. The deal is insignificant in the scheme of things. That's not what they're telling you or your competitors why they turned up at the office. Not saying that people want to pay more or want higher interest rates, but they didn't get up saying, oh, interest rates are low, let's go and buy a home. And by the way, those advertisers, those builders, those brokers that are spending so much of their energy saying, a great time to buy because interest rates are at historically low rates. Okay, great. But you have zero competitive advantage for that. If I'm worth 3.15%, I'm worth 3.15% for any of the products represented in this room, for used houses new, for a big builder, a small builder. Why would you tell me that? That may tip me over the scales later on, after I've emotionally moved into one of your homes. Why tell me that I can borrow money cheaply? Kind of knew that was irrelevant, but I can borrow money cheaply, whatever I do, wherever I go, whoever I transact with. This is not a high motivator. Insignificant in the scheme of things. Deal with it, and the brokers in this room train your salespeople to understand that later on. Again, not saying people want to pay more or a higher interest rate. That's not why they're there. That's not what turned their crank to get off work early or park the kids and come and have a look at what you've got. The rest of these are small numbers. Again, if you want to get a copy of this presentation, you can see what they are. But we've given you so far the big ones. Let's take a pause. Here's the top reasons that people are in the market. How come you're looking at buying a new home now? And then we shut up. Some people, 12%, 11.71, tell us something weird. It just doesn't lend itself to a real analysis, so I just plug that in as other. The most bizarre answer that I can remember is, I have to buy a new home, by February the 17th or whatever it is, or I lose part of my inheritance. Okay, I don't have a checkbox for that. I'm going to put that in other. Look at this. Remember we asked them, how come you're looking at buying a new home now, and then we shut up? 9% of the people say, I'm actually not. But only 9. And it's our opinion. We don't know this, but our counsel to you could be, if 9% say, I'm not looking to buy a new home now, some of them may be looking to buy a new home now, but they don't want to tell us because they think we're going to wrestle them to the ground on behalf of the builder and make them buy something too soon or that they don't want. But some of them could be looking at buying a new or used house now, so they're still in the market, or some of them could be looking at buying a new home, but I can't until the bonus comes in September. My belief is if 9% of the people say, I'm not in the market to buy a new home now, that's the most that it can be. What it also means, think about it, is 90% are in the market to buy a new home now. How do we know that? That's pretty aggressive to say. Well, we're not saying it. We recorded it. They said it. They said it to us. They said it to your competitors. They said it to some of the people that you represent. So here are the big reasons. Here are all the reasons. Change jobs, insignificant in the scheme of things. So our job is to understand a little bit better what turns the crank of those consumers. Now that we know that, how do we go after them? Well, starting with new space, more space. And this is something not only for the advertising, for the marketing to be thinking about this, but also your on-site sales teams. They should be thinking that more people want more space than want a great school district or historically low interest rates. So, this is in order of how we should be qualifying our prospects to get them to our communities, but also then how to treat them once they're there. How do we get more people to our communities? Well, in addition to all of the home builder responses that we've got, in our company we have an expression that says never squander a crowd. So if we're deployed, as we have been at Del Mar or at Aquarium of the Pacific or the Grand Prix with 225,000 people over a 3-day weekend, we will very often ask questions unrelated to the client, with their permission, unrelated to the client. And we ask people, we also did a 7-week survey at Cal State Northridge, UCLA, at several shopping centers in North LA County, and even clandestinely at the parking structure opposite the IKEA in Burbank. We asked thousands of people these kinds of questions. Okay, one hand or two? iPhone or smartphone or tablet? What do you use to interact with the virtual world? 71% say always or mostly a smartphone or a smartphone and a tablet. Pretty important. For us as marketeers, it says to us everything has to be mobile enabled. Well, we kind of knew that, but it also has to look good on a small screen. And this roll-up is a little over 90 days old. I'm going to bet that it's skewed even more to the iPhone or to a smartphone. That's how they're interacting with the rest of the world. This is real home buyers, but also people that could be home buyers or even renters in the next several years. And then we ask this, all right, in your search for your next accommodation, and this includes rental, it could include a trailer park, how are you going to go and get that information? What apps or tech tools are you going to use? Now, some of them say, well, the tech tool I'm going to use is in person. Again, we're telling you how they told us. I don't consider that much of an app or a tech tool, but they're saying it. Look at this. The laser doesn't turn up on this. 62% of the people start their search at the big four. At Facebook, Google, Twitter, and YouTube. That's where they go before they come to our individual websites, Pulte.com, LiveMosaic.com, and after they're at Pulte.com, then they go to DellWeb.com, and then they go to Solera.com, and then they go to SunCityShadowHills.com. But they started at Facebook or Google. Isn't that fascinating? And if we are smaller builders other than Pulte, and even Pulte has a limited budget, they may be spending more of their money on the website for Acme Meadows when, think about it, what they want to do is to have that website go dead. Their job is to work themselves out of that job. And they're spending so much of their energy on that that's where guys like Weston have it figured out. They spend so much of their money and their energy on that site-specific website, they forgot we need to drag you. Here's who the people are. They're over here at Twitter, Google, etc. We want to take them to Pulte, then we want to take them to Dell Web, and then we want to take them to Sun City Shadow Hills. An example. That's pretty interesting. And by the way, the next time we do this, my suspicion is that Instagram will be in the top 4. Don't know what's going to get bumped out. Maybe Google. I don't know why. I just have that sense. Instagram, in terms of a way for you to communicate with your potential clients, is exploding. It's absolutely unbelievable. Don't miss those. And again, think about, here's where the consumer, they're telling us, this is probably in the low 70,000s of people have said, this is the idea. This is where I'm going to start my search for another home. Whoa, yes, sir.
Can you give me an example of how someone would use Facebook to do that?
Yeah, mostly it's by recommendation. I'm thinking about buying a new home in a retirement home, in the example, in the desert. What can anybody tell me? And they'll listen. And totally unrelated to that, sir, but let me tell you that, in fact, this real estate practitioner lives in the desert, works for one of the top 30 builders in the country. Here's how powerful Facebook is. She puts on Facebook that she is being recommended to have open heart surgery. She's like 35. Open heart surgery. What do you guys think? And she's asking her Facebook friends. And she's got cardiologists at Loma Linda or whatever it is, or Cedar-Sinai, and she's asking her Facebook friends. The analogy, and it's absolutely a fact, some of you know Brandy Hart from Capital Pacific, that's who it was. I mean, it's not a secret, she put it on Facebook. That's how powerful that medium is, and there are others. So, I mean, there are all sorts of, and you have to figure out how to manage it. If you've got a problem, you can't ignore it and say, well, you know, they don't know what they're talking about. So let me move on from this. The opportunity is, let's get people where they are rather than think that they belong at our website. So, and it's just too important. Please do not let your teenage daughter manage your social media business for your development account. The fact that she has 3,000 friends only means she's got 3,000 friends and a Facebook account, not that she's an expert in social media that is designed to be successful professionally and in business. This is way too important. You need someone that understands this and isn't going to build you a website to win all the awards or have the greatest media presence in new media just for the sake of doing it. There's an agenda that you should have. You should be doing this to be successful in your business. And yeah, it's too important to just leave it to a beginner or it's a, you know, it's like having someone do merchandise your models because he has a flair for color. Huh? You know, I want good colors, but my job is to have merchandising in my models, if I have them, to help me be successful in selling my homes. It's just too important to wing it. In terms of the content, what people want to see in social media, again, think about how we've been spending our time for the last 22 minutes. There's much more emotion going on than fact and economics. I'll get to the economics and I'll get to the fact, but I need to be excited about whatever it is, when I go from, etc. What they want to do in terms of their social media interaction with you, with us, is they want to get news about the community. And that doesn't mean the community that you're building, not just the master plan or the condo or the 22 suburban homes. It's the greater community. Is there going to be an outdoor arts festival again this year? Is the park going to be reopened? How about that freeway off-ramp? I mean, they're asking the things about the greater community, if you like. And now they're saying to us, but I want to participate. It's not that I want to be a voyeur on social media. It's interactive. I'm going to participate. So you want to be there watching them and interacting with them. A good example, by the way, they are clients of ours, but I'm going to give you one of all of the builders we represent. Superb example of this. Become a friend of Shea San Diego. It's Shea-SD. They get this. You guys, if you do nothing but clone them, you will be very, very, very much more aware of how to do this. So then look at it again. The number 3. Now I want to get the best deal. And after that, I want to find out a little bit more about you, the builder. But before I even get there, it's all the, I mean, social, but it's the motivational, it's the emotive, it's the visceral stuff that's important to me. Why do we say that? Because they told us that. So, a little bit of a wrap-up. If you, and maybe you don't even believe it now, but would you have believed that 9 out of 10 people turning up at a new home sales community, virtually anywhere in the country, is actually on an agenda to buy a new home now? Now, that doesn't mean you have a 90% chance of selling them one of your homes, but they're saying, I have 90% of them, I have a reason to be here to buy a new home now. There's some agenda there. And if your sales team is not trained to ask the right questions, if they're still asking, hi, is this your first visit? What brings you today? No, just looking. I mean, good Lord. That's not going to help you. And in fact, they are telling us when we ask them a better question that I am on some sort of an agenda. I'm not here to double my money by Thursday and think that my home is going to be an ATM like it was in the old days. And while interest rates are good when they're lower than higher and prices and all that, that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I want something about the physical plant, and disproportionately I want to have bigger than where I am now. Good. What's your wrong? It's a good qualifying question to get a sense of where they are now, because there's a very good chance that once you know that, you talk about the size that you currently have to offer, which is bigger. It's a pretty good chance. And social media first, Google, Twitter, etc. to find us, and then to find in the example Pulte, and then to find Del Webb, and then to find Sun City Shadow Hills. So it's easy to say do the research, but my suggestion to you is you got to do it. Do not hire us or any research company to do a mega project. because you need to get little snippets along with things change. So many of your competitors are still dealing with the research they did at Land Act. Hello, this is Southern California. Land Act takes, to get the entitlement, takes 2 years, 4 years. Playa Vista took 22 years. And if you're still relying on consumer research done when you were thinking about buying the land or optioning, even if it's 4 years old, it's half a business cycle. I mean, good Lord. Get someone to freshen that information, but do little snippets. And everybody has a limited budget. Our clients, part of the stuff that you're on spread around, I'm delighted to say our clients in China have the largest sales volume program in the world. Expressed in US dollars, we will sell in homes this year, just residential, over $1 billion US. It's about 7.2 billion RMB. They have a fixed budget. They don't have unlimited money. So none of us in this room have unlimited money, but there are pots that you can dip into. Your vendors, your trade partners, sometimes they're consultants, but typically your construction trade partners. So make a note, windows, cabinets, flooring, appliances, and fixtures. All of those people have money available for you for third-party research. They typically want a motherhood question. An example, Kohler fixtures will pay for in our experience, a third to a half of our fees to our client, and they want us to ask one question, and here's the question. On a scale of 1 to 5, how important is it to you that Acme Builders has made a complete commitment that every fixture in the home is Kohler? I mean, they don't even know who Kohler is, but they're all going to say 5. So take the money. And if they say, well, I happen to work for Mullen, or I work for Delta, then you've got another kind of a problem. But you see that these people want you to be successful. They want you to sell out of your current community now, go and buy some more land so that you can once again use Kohler fixtures or Whirlpool appliances or whatever that is. And it's easy. All you have to do is ask. And don't be dissuaded by your purchasing agency or if it's in-house, oh, we didn't have that co-op language in our contract. Hey, you know what? The worst that you can do by asking Kohler is ask them and they may say no, but they're sure as hell not going to volunteer. Hey, are you thinking of doing any research? We'd love to give you some money. If you ask them, maybe the second time they help you. But I mean, these guys want you to be successful, so tap into them. And when you're going to ask those questions, please don't do the motherhood questions. Ask kind of questions. Think about some of the examples that we've given you. And then what's really important is ask that good question, then shut up. Then listen to what they're saying. And don't then take their answer, I have more people moving into my household. Oh, they need more space. That's not what they said. Some do. Some just want a different deployment of the existing amount of space. Or some may want to give up a basement and have that space, even less of it, upstairs or whatever. But it's a matter of training your sales teams or yourselves to ask the question, listen to their agenda. What's really going on with them? So, good questions. And in the scheme of things, most of the guys I suspect in this room are builders and developers. Yeah, well, it's real easy to do that. No problem getting land and entitling it, and then finding the money and building the home. I mean, whether it's the research or the marketing, taking advantage of the research, or social media, don't wing this stuff. Find an expert. Find someone that has more credentials than I have 3,000 Facebook fans. That's not the right thing to do. There are experts available to you so that they can help you be more successful. That's about the extent of my conversation or my speech. Ready for a conversation, but I do want to say this. I want to thank Yaron for bringing you guys all together. Some of you know each other, some of you don't, bringing me here. Here's the cool thing about this guy. So, I was a competitor for many years. I know for a fact that there are some people in this room that are competitors of his. Some are clients, some are potential or past or future clients, some are never going to be clients. Fair to say, I think I found one. The cool thing is he's got people in this room only to try and make your professional life better. And I think that's cool because, I think he's just legitimately interested in you guys, but also if you guys do better, then the market does better. And hopefully you'll get more than your fair share of market share. And that's why I want to say thank you to my friend Yaron, my competitor Yaron, competitor to the death sometimes Yaron. Happy to be here. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them. But please say thank you to Yaron. Yaron, I hope you can hear this. If there's questions, I'm happy to take them.
This isn't necessarily a question. I know this man, so.
That's not my problem.
I wonder if everybody in this room understands how you do your research. It's a really unique approach. It's very different and fresh, and I think it would really help these all of us to understand how your research differs from some other research.
Okay, I'll do it. But by design, I didn't want to make this a presentation about us. I wanted it to be about your consumers. Our short version is we ask typically 5 questions, but not the same questions. And we do them in less than a minute. We think about them for weeks to design them. Then we train our people so that when they engage a prospect, and it's person to person, they memorize the question and they have the conversation with them and they maintain eye contact. And then when they're done, they take the iPad and they enter the information. It's really kind of magic. We have had people knowing that we were researching, so we finished with them and they said, okay, I'm ready now for the question. And that was it. No, I want to participate. No, you did. No, please. And the point is that it's conversation. We learned at the Disney school. It's conversational, not confrontational. And we don't stop people in their tracks and say, just a second, I have a questionnaire for you. We don't put anything in front of their face. We have a conversation, and if they're walking out to the car in the case of New Home Sale, or they're standing in line at a food truck in the case of Del Mar, or they're lining up for Absolute Vodka in the case of South Point Casino, we'll walk with them. You know, and they can push us away, but it's very light and airy and friendly. And what that means, Tom and other friends, is that we pick up what's really going on in their life. You know, they're going to tell us because we're dressed like the lady there in pink, and it's very friendly. Even the guys are in pink. It's very friendly, and they can tell that we are clearly not from Pulte or from the Venetian Hotel. The Venetian would never wear bright pink like that. So they know we're some sort of third party, and we might have a badge so we belong there. Here's one of the other interesting things. If we say to someone, what's your favorite color? And this one says, well, it's green. Well, no, this time of year, I'm sort of a blue. I'm going to record that as green. I'm going to tell you the first thing that came out of her mouth. Or, what kind of a car? You're like, what? I love Chev and Ford. Absolutely the same. Why didn't they say Ford and Chev? So I'm going to tell you Chevrolet. I'm going to give you the first answer in every case. And even if they say, oh, no, you know what? No, I reconsider. I really would prefer. Too late. Because they've spoken. They've spoken with their belly, through their heart, slowed down in most cases through the mind that came out their mouth. I believe what they say has value, and I'm not going to distill it. Sir.
Have you done surveys asking the potential home buyer, prospective home buyer, how they found their realtor, for example?
No. No. We sometimes ask them how they found the community. I can tell you that very often that's it's not good information. They'll typically say the last thing they saw, the signs. Yeah. And isn't it magic when you cancel all of your other marketing programs, your signs just die? Right. So, but we don't ask them how they found their realtor.
What do you personally think the top 5 are? Is it social media? It depends on the age.
Well, sure, right? Social media, but also what's in that social media? Referral and recommendation, and repeat, absolutely. Yeah. And if they have a good presence, if they're out there all the time and doing, please, you guys do go and check out Chez San Diego. That Chez San Diego talks about things that are important to others, not about them. And a number of the good brokers that we follow are doing that. It's not, okay, we'll come out to my community and blah, 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 and this week we're going to do this and that, and we'll wash your car. It's more about, it's truly community. It's truly, I have an opinion about a number of things, not just that you should buy a home from me. And it's amazing how magic that is, how it works. By the way, Chez San Diego last year, around this time, a little later than this last summer, inning by inning, posted the scores of the Little League World Series. What the hell does that have to do with buying a new home, except that one of the teams was in Chula Vista, near San Diego. And people still remember that. And whenever it's time for the air show at Miramar, they devote a ton of time. It has nothing to do with buying a home from Shea. But here I am talking about it. And here their competitors aren't, missing the point that they really get it. You have to roll the time. Somebody else is waving here. Any questions? Okay, see, Ron, if you need copies of the 15 reasons why people prefer to own versus buy. It's not the tax applications, it's not the capital gain. See, Ron, We'll take that. See you, Ron, if you want to copy this presentation. If there's any questions, if you want to get on our mail or newsletter, it doesn't cost anything to do. We'll let Ron know that. We'll capture your email address, and I'd be happy to send you some ideas about research. Thank you very much, you guys. Say thank you to you, Ron, on the way out.